question is, how do you learn to play guitar and sing at the same time? So I'm going to give you my advice on this. It's just my advice. Once again, if you have a guitar instructor and you're working with somebody and they have a different approach or strategy, I recommend you kind of follow what they're saying. They're your instructor. But I'm going to give you what I found to be true and true for those people that I've taught to play. And once again, not as a guitar instructor, more as a, hey, how do I play guitar? Okay, let me show you a few things, get them started, and then I kind of leave it up to them. So anyways, let's kind of jump into it. So I'm going to grab my guitar here. I think we're relatively in tune. All right, and I've got some notes here, so I hope you don't mind that I refer to my notes. I've really got just 7 main points. They're all really simple. So the first is start simple. When you're learning to play and sing at the same time, don't use a super complicated song. So my second point is, and goes with start simple, is a simple song. So 3 chords. If you can find something with 2 chords, even better. But 3 chords, 3 basic chords that you can play, and simple lyrics, right? So those are the first thing. So the simple song, pick a simple song. Now, when I started playing, my dad was a banjo player, played folk music. The first song I learned was the Crawdad song. And the Crawdad song, I'm just going to play just kind of a simple refrain from it. You get a line, I'll get a pole, honey. You get a line, I'll get a pole, babe. First chord change. You get a line, I'll get a pole. We'll go down to the Crawdad hole, honey. Sugar babe, be mine. All right, may not be your thing. Totally get it. Cool. You don't have to learn the Crawdad song. I think there are some benefits, and I'll explain what they are and why I taught them to my kids and taught that song to my kids, my girlfriend when she learned to play, and other people. We'll explain that in a second. But so a simple song, simple lyrics, 3 chords, that's awesome. The other thing is you want it to have a simple meter. You don't want it doing changes on 1s and 4s and things that kind of might be more interesting, and those are all great things, but when you're learning to play and sing, you want to make it as simple as possible. So a simple meter. So the Crawdad song, if we really break it down, is just 2, 3, 4. Now I'm not doing the normal pattern of the kind of train pattern, the chunka, like, but that's all still just 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, right? So I can just go. Okay, so that's a simple meter. It's a really simple thing to play. It's just going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Simple 4, 4, because you're going to start practicing it that way. All right, so that's the second thing, or third thing, a simple meter. The fourth thing is memorize the chords. And this is a big one because I see people looking at their chord sheet all the time. And if you don't know the chords, I don't care if you use it as a reference, just something you can kind of, as you're doing it, maybe it just reminds you of something. I don't think you need it as much as you think you do. I think sometimes it's a crutch. But if you memorize the chords and you don't have to think about them, that's one less thing to think about, right? So if you're sitting there going, what's the next chord? It's going to make it very hard for you to just be natural and sing the song. And that brings up kind of the next piece, right? Know the chords, know the lyrics. If you don't know the lyrics, you're going to have a hard time singing in time and being natural and feeling like you can easily go through it. So know the chords. Now, that's another case for a simple song. So once again, I learned the Crawdad song. The Crawdad song, it just repeats the same line 3 times basically, and then has a little embellishment at the end or a little change. But it's literally, that first verse. You get a line, I'll get a pull, honey. You get a line, I'll get a pull, babe. You get a line, I'll get a pull. We'll go down to the Crawdad hole, honey. Sugar babe, be mine, right? So that's it. So there's not a whole lot of lyrics to learn, not a lot of variation. Once again, maybe it's not the most interesting. I still like it, but that's fine. You don't have to. Find a song that fits, that is simple. Simple lyrics that you can memorize, simple chords. All right. Secondly, our number 6 is going to be start with just downstrokes, just like I was doing there. While I play the song maybe like this, which is a nice little rhythm to learn. I mean, it's so common and used all the time, or some variation of it, right? You know, Johnny Cash songs, whatever. But when I'm just starting and you're just learning to play, being able to keep the tempo and just kind of a nice, simple downbeat, that's fine. Right? Da 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 da. Right? So that's it. So just use downstrokes, downbeats, just to make it simple so you can play through the song. Once you get past that point, there's a lot you could do, even with that simple rhythm. I can do some variations like... You get a line, I'll get a pole, honey. You get a line, I'll get a pole, babe. You get a line, I'll get a pole. We'll go down to the crawdad hole, honey. Sugar babe, be mine. Right, so you can throw some extra notes in there, some kind of syncopation, whatever you want, once you're comfortable with it. But just start with the downstrokes and then kind of add to it, right? That's kind of my advice on that. And lastly, that's where you can expand it from there. You could do some different things. So you notice that when I played that song and I went to the G, then I dropped to a G7, then I pulled off that G7 to run me back down to my C. You'll learn that stuff over time, but just start with the simple and then expand. And here's the last thing I'm going to tell you is, if you master one song, one simple song, even if it's not your favorite song, don't start with the most complicated, Peter Gabriel, or, where he's got a zillion chord changes and jazz chords and all this crazy stuff. I mean, he's got a lot of simple songs too, but, don't stretch yourself so much to learn and master your first song. Gain a comfort level with the simple song, because if you do that, it's going to give you the confidence to move on to the next song. That's what I found to be true. That's kind of my advice if you want to learn how to play and sing at the same time. Let me know any of your other questions. We're going to go through a whole series and I'll start to lay them out. I'm going to explain why I recommend guitar over every other instrument if you want to learn songwriting. Hopefully it's not a controversial topic, because I'm not really that dogmatic about it. I'm speaking from my experience, and I have my reasons for that. That doesn't mean that some amazing songwriters are on ukulele or piano or whatever instrument they're on. If you watched... So anyways, we'll talk about in a future video, including watching Paul McCartney in Get Back write Get Back on his bass, which I can't imagine writing a song on a bass, but looking at what he did was amazing. I'll explain what I think is effective about what he did. But in any case, that's a future video. Hopefully you found it helpful. If you did, think about subscribing, leave a comment, ask me any other question about songwriting. Would love to answer them. And I appreciate you tuning in. See ya.
She's given me, I've been taking for a turn. These lessons that I've learned, of this there is no doubt. She knows love, she knows love, she knows love and what it's about.